Okay, it says, Trina,
I think we're live.
I think it says we're live.
Yes,
All right,
yes,
I got
yes,
it.
I
So,
think so.
hello, everybody. How are you doing? We just speak
Wonderful.
favor over you all. And if you're here, then it means you're in the right place. This is where the universe wants you. So we welcome you. We just receive you with gladness and we just speak favor. And
Mhm.
favor means, the best of what this realm has to offer. So
Yes,
nothing missing, nothing
nothing
broken.
broken. Yeah.
Bosto, and happy birthday. And we are indeed prospering, Trina. So
Yes, we are.
y'all know me and my beautiful co-host, Miss Trina Phoenix. How are you, my dear?
I'm wonderful. And how are you, Wayne?
Any better? I don't think the universe could handle it. And by
Right?
I just want to say you have a radiance about you this day. So
Oh, well, thank you.
I like it. There used to be a preacher by the name of Ernest Angley, and he said, now, if you want to feel God's power, just put your hand on the television.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you, your power is coming through. So
I
I'm gotten it.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So how's your week been, my dear?
Eventful, but good. Yeah.
God,
Busy.
I like
Been
that.
doing a lot of sessions. So that's always fun too.
A lot of energy, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was even did a session on a wolf dog. So that was fun.
Far out.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that is really cool.
Yeah, it was
Um,
awesome.
the energy is, I sent an email out to a couple people and you were on there. So this morning, out about 4:30, out going on my walk, talking with the spirits. It's kind of like a spirit walk, kind of cool. It's dark now. It's not light. It is when summer was here. And there are other
Mhm.
people out there at that time of the morning. But Trina, today was really weird. I mean, there was a strangeness to the air. There was no air moving. I mean, it was, as they used to, the saying, dead calm. And I met another couple on the trails, and we stopped and we were talking, and I said, "This is weird." I said, "Our voices aren't carrying." And both of them said, it's there. And she says, I feel like I'm almost in a Dean Koontz novel. She said, this is really, and she looked at her husband. She says, we need to go back in. So it's interesting, that I don't know, some have wrote me and said it feels like almost space time, that a shift has taken place. And as opposed to in past times where they're so subtle, you can't even perceptionally pick them up. This one has a subtleness to it that is, yeah. What
You
say
know,
you?
Wayne, well, it's the Lion's Gate. So I really do believe that that's when portals open. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if we're really feeling that more than we ever have before. And it's really weird. The air was super still here too. I woke up at about 3 o'clock this morning and I went out back and it was just so still and so humid, which is, not normal for here. But right now we're getting a lot of rain, which is kind of not normal. We're getting good monsoons this year. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Chris
the humidity
Matthew,
and the stillness, it was kind of eerie. And it rained so hard, it shut my water fountain off. So to walk out and not hear the fountain and everything was just so
that,
still. It was kind of
yeah.
like you said, kind of eerie feeling.
Chris
Yeah.
Matthew, Forbidden Knowledge News, he lives just a fair piece up the road. And as he said, it's still here too. So I think something happened. I don't know.
I wonder if we're in some type of a portal. I really do. When it
Yeah,
feels to me like we go through these in betweens and then we jump. And I wonder if we're doing that
that is
again.
what I am sensing.
Me too.
There is something in motion now.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
it's tangible. And so, hello everyone in the chat room.
Hi,
We love
everyone.
you
Yeah.
all the moderators and
Mhm.
everyone else in the Soul Tribe family. We speak love over you and thank you for being a part of this. How many of you other out there have felt something? There was something interesting today. It was palatable.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
I want to bring this out. Who was it? And I don't want to make sure I got this right. So someone, and sorry, forget your name. Well, instead of here guessing, why don't I just go there and look at this? Let's see. But do. Bum, 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 bum. Give me one
One through the
second.
thousands.
Colleen, thank you.
Mhm.
It was Colleen. And so Colleen, she brought out, she says, everything is reverse. Everything. So she went, and I don't know if she was meditating or something. Colleen, if you're here, much love to you, darling. Hey, Gaza, all the way down from down under. Much
Yeah.
love to you, my
Hi,
friend.
Papa.
She said she reversed the name Satan, right? Because I'm doing this series on this whole, if demon possession, if evil is real, then who's responsible? But anyway, she said she looked it up, and lo and behold, the name means, and this would be Nate Natus. It is, get this, a person born on Christmas Day.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, that's Satan's name reversed. That's what it means. A person
That
born.
makes perfect sense. Oh,
Is
wow.
that weird?
That makes a lot of sense because the truth is always backwards. It's always in reverse.
Yeah. Hey, Suzanne, good to
When you
see
start
you.
getting these EVPs, Wayne, we need
Oh,
to look at them backwards.
all right.
That's when
So,
you really hear the messages if we run them backwards.
okay. Speaking of which, let me.
Hmm.
This is a EVP session, August 9th with Trina on a second look.
Wow.
Okay. By the way, folks, someone wanted to see the SLS. So here it is, folks.
Isn't it cool?
Isn't that cool? I mean, if you look at the light,
Isn't it cool?
it's like,
Like,
and
wow.
it's interesting because I can see the center dot, and this is what it looks like, folks. So you get the room in a 3D framework, and then you get a regular view up there. So I am working with this more and more, doing more and more sessions. Give me one second, folks, as I turn it off.
Gently set everything down.
Yeah.
Fragile equipment.
Yeah, this stuff is, it's like, all right, give me one
So
second.
cool though. So
Oh,
amazing.
I love it. I'm
I do too.
getting so much better at it. And I'm learning to, let's see, there we go, slide down. And there it is off. Let me disconnect the battery. This one, I have to say, is not a power hog. I've had it on for the last hour.
Oh,
I
right
do,
on.
yeah, I mean, I do sessions on this all the time. Give me one second. Okay.
Yeah, all the technology that's picking up all this spiritual energy. I love it.
And what I'm finding, I haven't been in a house yet. I do our house, and we have one entity. I mean, it could be my spirit guide. It could be our dog, Lynn's dog, who passed away. I don't know, but it's here. And it does wander through the house. It's about 4 foot tall. And it's not threatening. And so, but outside, I have found that these I am convinced that there are intelligent human beings and non-intelligent human beings that are right next to us. I mean, and this is what the SLS, which is structured light system, picks up, and other devices. And I've had some interesting experiences out there. They're out there. And even when you're in the woods, yeah.
They're all over. Always.
They are all over. It's quite
I've always
interesting.
sensed them since I was a child. I could just sense all kinds of things. Nature spirits, human spirits, dark spirits. I mean, I could sense all of it. Extraterrestrial energy spirits. I mean, I could sense a lot of stuff when I was young, and still can, but yeah, it was very powerful when I was young.
Well, you know what I have found, and we welcome all spirits here. If you care to speak, you're intelligent, you understand the technology, but if you want to make your presence, I have a number of devices. Got another one. This little sucker is it's a pretty powerful one too.
It's like beep, 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 beep. I like the word one. That's my favorite.
What? I can't hear you anymore.
Right? You just got
Like,
beat.
holy crap,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell was that about?
Right? Yeah, I love the word one too. That's my favorite one so far. I love that one.
Oh yeah, we'll have some fun with this
The word one's
later.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And they do speak. I mean, I've had times here when I'm working at night and I'll put the SLS on and then I'll put the other devices. Got this one. Now, this one is interesting because it will alert me to a change specifically in the electromagnetic field.
Wow.
So, yeah. And then I got this device. There you go. Pretty cool,
Wow.
eh?
It's
Now,
really
this one will actually allow you to almost have an interaction, kind of yes, no.
I love that.
Yeah. And, you know, as Led Zeppelin said, there is a communication breakdown because
Yes.
that barrier, you know, and it's a real one.
The veil.
The veil, the veil. So, Trina, do you think that we are actually like jumping realities,
You know,
timelines?
either jumping or like we're merging timelines, because it feels to me like they're collapsing in to two separate streams from multiples. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I could
Almost
see
feels like
that.
they're collapsing in on each other more than we're jumping, because I felt jumping before, but now it feels like things are collapsing in on each other. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah,
When you say that, I get the idea of a black hole. Yeah.
me too, a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The singularity. It's like, oh no. Well,
Yeah.
something is afoot. It really is.
Think about what's the black hole on the body? The iris, the eye,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
pupil.
And the poets have said that the eye is the window of the soul.
And think about it. We have two eyes, which hold the two perceptions and the two perspectives of the two hemispheres of the two brains.
Mm. Just saw a great program on that topic.
Oh,
And it's like that paper I would the what science is discovering is the whole aspect that death is not death. Don't know.
time. It's about time.
So we live after we die.
Absolutely.
That's what it's saying. It's like, okay,
I think that's
isn't that what this
absolutely.
whole thing is?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The whole
Yeah.
thing is like they don't want you to know that though, because they want to keep you in fear of death.
Mm,
So
the
it's
fear.
been carefully guarded, yeah, that you are already immortal, and they're trying to sell you into immortality when duh, you already are. Silly, you know.
Hmm.
Silly rabbit tricks are for kids.
You silly humans, can't y'all
Yes,
figure this thing out? You
right,
know,
right.
it's like the
Yeah.
question I asked yesterday, and no one answered. So, all this evil,
Mhm.
is it really Satan's fault? Lucifer, the devil, demons?
You know, when I go to the top of it, when I try to chunk it up as big as I can go, it always goes back to the two brothers, Adam or Cain and Abel, Enki and Enlil, la la la. It's always about the two brothers. And then it looks to me now like the whole manifestation of that battle now has become organic versus artificial. So I think that this is the whole game, is that we're looking at that. So what if one of these entities, which I see as a field of consciousness, able to create multiple things out of that field of consciousness, what if one was infected by nano and got sick? And that's what all of this is.
So that would be what evil is.
Yeah, it might be, because it's self-consuming. See, it's a different level or aspect of the way the creation minds work. This was in the entropy material realms, and I think that maybe those have always kind of had to operate through some type of a simulation. So to get the spirit intertwined with that through nano would probably be the only way that that could happen. And that could be what we're dealing with, is the battle between, organic and artificial, that one consumes and one self-generates. It could be that simple.
I will interject another thought.
Yeah.
And it is this. The reason why we create this evil is that it allows us to, and excuse me, folks, I bit my tongue.
Ouch.
Ouch. It allows us a clause for complete no responsibility. We have no responsibility because there is another creature, another intelligence that is much more superior to us. And because we're influenced by that creature, that entity, that intelligence, we're innocent. We're victims. And so our actions, even individually or as a species, we have an escape clause because it's not our fault. The problem with that,
the Santa Claus.
Think about it.
Just heard that.
It could be the Santa Claus. We
Born on
are
December 25th.
Satan. I mean, what?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I just don't.
So if we got the devil, we got Lucifer, we got Satan, and we're victims in this. I got no responsibility, none. I'm innocent because they're more intelligent, they know more, they're more powerful, and we're just a mere human being.
I get that.
And then you build a religion around that, and you reverse it.
Yep.
Because now we're going to, well, we can't argue the responsibility thing. So what we're going to have to make you guilty. And then once we start the guilt trip, now we're going to start the fear. And
yeah. And it's really,
hey, Kaz, how you doing, dear?
Because, the punishment comes when you die. So fear of death. And
now we're finding out again,
no death.
I knew 5 years ago, and I'm on the record on this, that we've been taught wrong about death, that we should embrace it.
Yes.
It's the release of the body.
Yeah. Many people are starting to get it right. Instead of funerals,
they are
celebrations of life. It's like a lot of people are starting to understand that it really should be an honoring. It should be a celebration of their life. And yay, they're moving on.
I mean, on my passing, as I've told Lynn, throw a party.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
Yes.
Throw a party. I'll be there, along with the rest of the friends. Not going anytime soon. Kaz, how you doing, my dear? I was thinking about you earlier. Consciously aware. How are you? And Deborah, Joyce, Scotty. I mean, it's a full house.
Hey, everyone.
So good to see y'all. Genetically modified. Can't wait to drop this meat suit. True about that. I mean, if the studies are showing correctly that Lynn and I were talking about this, that if the brain, we still don't understand it. And now it appears that there are areas of the brain that lie dormant and are only activated when that which is conscious no longer is required.
Mhm.
Wow. A built-in portal.
Yes,
Trina, that's what it is.
absolutely.
I mean, from an alchemy, I'm thinking about this. What is going on here? I mean, this is space, time. This is creating another, I don't know, reality.
Yeah,
Hmm?
yeah. I mean, I've always seen that consciousness is not in our head, it's being streamed into my head. I've always seen that. That's what people refer to the silver cord and all this different stuff. We're all seeing the same thing, just in a little bit of a different way. But yeah, there is a stream of consciousness coming into us, and where that's coming from, we really don't quite know for certain. But from what I'm seeing is that that's probably the best thing that you could try to figure out is how to disconnect from um, this construct in essence to find out what is the connection that's emanating you, because you are a part of this consciousness, so you have to have a point of consciousness within the entire construct, or maybe multiples.
Now, that's interesting because apparently the consciousness goes inside this area of the brain that is only activated for a very few seconds. I think some say as much as maybe 19 minutes. It's still generating the beta, theta, and even gamma waves.
Mhm.
So there's something going on here.
Yeah, that's, I think, just like a rattlesnake dying, though. It's just the chemicals moving through the system, finishing out its process. What I see is
But
it's
isn't the
like,
spirit tied to that? I mean, if that,
this is what I'm seeing. I see the spirit actually animates soul. So
Mhm.
it's all about spirit. So the spirit is the actual force that animates all of it. So the thinking part of you that's conscious, to me, that's the spirit. The
You don't think
soul,
you think the spirit has already left when this process of death is taking place?
totally.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's out so fast, like lightning. It's like, yeah, see ya. Bye. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting
I think
because
sometimes
with a
even
near
before
death
the
experience, though, even the ones that I have, I was never that far from my body. Now, when I was in a coma, I had no idea where I was at, but
right.
huh.
Yeah, many go far from their bodies. Many don't, but many do. I mean, many go straight to different dimensions and have all kinds of encounters, and many of them come back healed and changed, and they defy impossible odds of healing.
So
So
it's
yeah, there's a
interesting because
lot.
this is why we do the show is to talk
Yeah,
about these a second look because I
yeah,
think you see I don't, and maybe it's just my perception, but I see the spirit I don't think we fully grasp the unionship, the bond that spirit and body have. Now, if the soul is the membrane
I think it
between the
is.
two,
It's like a
right?
membrane, Wayne. That's a great analogy.
That's what I have seen it is this
Yeah, that's a
membrane.
great analogy, actually. I'm like, I like that. That's a great analogy.
And so there is a electrical something going on in the brain
Yes,
once death has entered into the body.
yes.
I often wonder, you know, I get the spirit. I do. I am spirit.
Mhm.
I have a body that has a spirit of its own.
Yes,
That means that there is a covenant between who I call I
yes,
and my body.
yes.
Then I have this debatable thing called the soul, an ego. Um, and
And what if that literally goes to feeling construct and um, the emotional body construct, the will, the free will construct? I think those might be constructs of the soul that allows us to have those things in this body, and you have to have those incorporated into soul so it can animate. It's like the soul is kind of like a body suit, like it's
hmm,
your template so you can operate in this realm. Like it has to match what you're going into. So it's kind of like a cell of a body, and it's kind of like conception. Your spirit literally impregnates into the membrane and gets into the system. Then the consciousness somehow gets anchored to the earth. And then
that's where that anchor is. I was meditating the other day, and the question I asked myself, do I really need my soul? I mean, do I really need an ego? It was a weird question, because I've always associated the memory to the ego. It gives us identification, individuality. You know, you are Trina and I am Wayne. And we use these pretexts as I am, which, you know, goes way back. And it gives us self-identity. It says, hey, this is I, this is me. But again, it gets back to that question, do I really need my soul? You know, one of the puzzling things that the mystic magician Paul, St. Paul, some call him, is, well, actually, it's the writer of Hebrews. It's never been established who wrote that. But anyway, and then Hebrews 4:12, it says that this deity's word is sharper than any two-edged sword, able to cut asunder the spirit and soul, the bone and the marrow.
Yep.
Clear indication in occultic knowledge that, wait a minute, if you're making this point that the spirit and soul can be divided.
Yes.
So which identity survives?
That's how I think they capture the spark, is somehow through the soul. Because I see. I don't believe a spirit can ever be destroyed. I don't. A soul? I don't either. Yes, and I think a soul can.
A soul can.
I think.
You know why I know that?
It's charged.
Because we have done terrible experiments on people in these mental asylums where they were using electroshock therapy. And the purpose of electroshock therapy is to rewire, re-alter, erase parts of what I would call the soul.
Yep.
You change the person.
Yep.
You modified them.
Yep.
I mean, it's one step under a lobotomy.
Yep.
And so we know people that have, for instance, blunt force trauma, brain injuries. Many times the personality of what comes back is not the personality that was there prior.
Absolutely. I've seen that happen.
And then you have those cases where people have the regression back to their as a child. And that's a different personality.
Absolutely.
A child, no doubt.
Yep.
They have all the characteristics, the tendencies, the intelligence level of a child.
Yep.
I'm seeing in the chat room, this is getting a lot of, and it's these things that we talk about here that go, okay, so what's happening here? Is my spirit really the one that's coming down here? And we've talked about this before, that are we, in fact, do we create our soul?
I think so.
You see, I don't see how a God can create a soul. I can see how a spirit individually can. And it's unique.
What I see is that when the light comes out of the source thing, it starts to take on some kind of an semblance, because it's everything at the beginning. We're everything at the beginning.
But now, are we following the track? Is the spirit the one that's actually creating this thing we call the ego, the soul, the personality?
I think the ego and the soul and the personality is later built and developed. I don't think.
Okay, let me just stop right there, because with our grandchildren, we're seeing uniquenesses, and we saw that almost after they were born. And it's very clear, particularly with the grandson, that there is a uniqueness about the individual child.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm coming in here. It's like the debate, or the thought. It's not a debate, it's a difference of thought. When does the spirit actually inhabit the body?
That's a good question.
Hmm.
And is it the
Yeah.
spirit with the soul, or do they go in at different times? I
You
don't
see,
know.
I
That's
contend
interesting.
that the soul is not created until the spirit and body have made the unionship. And at that point, we're seeing, because I think a personality has as much part of the body. I mean, I've dated some women that, they were in the movie industry and what have you. And it's interesting because they had this thing pre-wired in them. And so my point is that the body, I think, is joining with the spirit, and then it's creating this uniqueness that we call us, you, Trina.
Yeah.
You're unique, you're beautiful, you have attributes that obviously, and here's where I'm coming from, that the soul begins to adapt because of what the body is contributing. And again, what would they be? The spirit. It's just
Yeah.
a thought.
I think the way I see it is like the soul is like the bodysuit that the soul, I think, forms the body, but the spirit, I think that's the part of you that's like the personality part of you. That's the part of you that remains always Wayne. No matter what body you take on, no matter where you go, you're always going to have this identity as yourself. But that's because yourself is created through your experiences. So all
Okay,
of
so
us
let
have,
me throw this out, dear.
uh-huh,
Let's take in the equation of reincarnation.
uh-huh,
All right, so what's being reincarnated here? Is it the spirit or the soul?
both. I think both.
Wow, and you see, that gets complicated
That's why I
because
see the soul
I don't see
carries
where the
all the records.
symbioticness comes between the two. What you're saying is that the spirit and the soul existed at the same time when they came into being.
No, I think the spirit created the soul,
Okay, all
but,
right. So,
but then
so
they incarnate always. Yeah, it's like the soul gets built through experience, as in a material, physical, etherical, energetic. It's in a man form, like spirits
see,
like
that's where I don't,
air to
and that's
me.
where
It's
it
like
gets, why would a
no
spirit
form.
need to be reincarnated?
I don't think it needs to do anything.
Now that, my dear, is exactly where,
Yeah, I don't think I don't think it
that's where
needs to
I'm
do
really
anything. Yeah.
like, yeah, man, that's
Yeah.
exactly where I want to go, man. I mean,
Yes.
on my departure, I'm going to snap in. I'm going to be on my beach. I mean,
Right.
I don't see any reason for it not to be.
I think you get to do what you perceive. And
Now,
if
the
that's what
question
you
is, do
perceive,
I
yeah.
want to take my soul with me? I mean, my body has already said, really kind of dig into the idea of the beach thing. And I said, all right. It's like that study they did yesterday. They found out from the University of Washington that
Mhm.
a woman carries the DNA of every man she has slept with.
I can think that would be true because I can feel that. That's true.
Well, that
That's,
is, look, while we're talking about it, let's analyze
yeah.
this. All right. So, and it's none of anyone's business how many partners you've had or have not, but tell me, I mean, wow, I mean, you're carrying the
Yeah.
DNA.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I mean, all right,
And then I
let's
think it
expand this on a
changes,
spiritual front.
I think it
What the
changes
fuck
the
is going
DNA
on
though.
here?
And I think it changes the DNA.
It's
I
interesting
really do.
because this is a Lilith thing to me.
Well, it just seems like that's real because I've had a knowing of that sexual intercourse is literally it's a business transaction. And not only do you take on the energies of that person, you take on all their demons and their daemon.
Oh yeah, and
You
there
take it
is
all
no
on.
doubt of that.
Yeah. We receive. So we receive. all
Okay,
of
so let's analyze this thing. All right. So I see this as the female now being not only a receptor, but now um, storing, collecting.
yes,
So
codes.
receptor, it comes in, then you store it. And as you're storing it, you're collecting more. This gets
Yes.
really intense because I have not seen
I think
any esoteric studies on this. I've seen nothing in philosophy on this. This is, for me, this is one of those groundbreaking moments of humanity. What's going
are
on?
you ready for this?
Yeah. Now I'll let you talk because you are, I'm not.
That's what was it was shown to me that that was the difference. The biggest difference between male and female bodies was that females do store, hold, and collect codes. You guys give them to the female so she can fertilize it, make it
I mean,
grow.
this has got the bee colony all over it, man. That's
It
all I
really,
got to
really
say. I
does.
mean,
But
you know,
they also showed me that that's why the female vessels are more fourth dimensional beings than third,
well, then
because
I'm going to
we.
inject something here, Trina.
Mhm.
I'm the one that's injecting the code.
Yes.
And my existence is predicated on the fact of how many times can I inject my code into your system.
Why do you think that gods have so much sex?
Hey, Steve, how you doing, Zerloff? How you doing, brother? Well, Trina, I've said that all along. I mean,
Now we get
it's the
about
one
sex and all
thing
of it.
that we are so ignorant on is sex magic.
Yes,
I
and we
study it
don't
all the
know.
time. I work with it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
freaking, it's creation.
powerful.
I
Yeah,
mean, we're going to get into the study tomorrow why the semen is the sperm. What we haven't, and that's the problem of our ignorance. We carry it from thousands of years, but if we truly understood what that one seed, that one atom can do, and it's so interesting because now the woman, the female, the divine feminine, this is something I see all the way to the top.
yeah,
Wow, it's way that you can almost say you have the Akashic record. I have
yes,
no doubt that the record keeper
yes,
is feminine.
yes.
Why? I mean, I don't see how a male can do that. If it is in fact the wow, you look at this. This may explain why we have such a patriarchal system that has collapsed. Is in fact that here's the backup.
Mhm.
You,
Yeah,
the
and
divine
also too,
feminine.
I think that male also carry the Akashic records because we all have a divine feminine part of our energy body, which is called the causal body.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cause and effect. See the feminine part. You impregnate her, she gets pregnant. But then there's the other part. This is the masculine, which is the will, the spark, the inspiration. So we've got layers
But
of
you're also even in the point of
yeah,
where impregnation takes place. We
yes.
know that is far less to happen, and that the coitus, the copulation, is. And I'm not saying that this. Well, yeah, I'll say it. That in a lifetime, an individual woman could have many different partners.
Mhm.
This is so interesting. Now, here's my question, and I haven't seen in the study, but now I'm wondering, do you pass that on, let's say, to the daughter, not to the male? Maybe the male is the recipient of the assembled code, the
I think we
feminine.
do, Wayne, and I think that's why the feminine part of the cell is the mitochondria. The
Mm-hmm.
mighty mouse, the one that carries all the codes. And most every human being is like 75% from their mother due to the mitochondria and what it gives to the production of a
Yeah, because
human being.
technically we're all first created
Yeah,
in this realm. We're all female.
yeah,
That's
yep.
the weird thing. We're all female.
Because this is a
But you
female
determine who is going to be the
realm.
male and who's not.
Yeah. But this is a female realm because it's the
Yeah.
material realm, the material world. It's the mother realm.
The
So this is
maternal.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
That's why it's
yeah.
all about that, because that's why we're all born female here. See, in spirit, we're probably born masculine because your
I don't
spirit,
know if as above, so below.
uh-huh. You're both. You're always
I
both,
often
Wayne.
said
You
that
know
I
that.
think that the spirit realm is run by the divine feminine. I mean, I can be
Yeah,
completely wrong, but
it has to be, but the father impregnates her. So they're both like the
and
man and the
that just
woman.
gets weird again. That just
Yeah,
shows that the
it's about the
sex is
sex, Wayne.
the coitusing always, I mean, it's always about the sex.
It has to be here. That's how, yes, it
I
has to
love
be here.
this.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
And that's what we read, the Greek gods. I mean, they were a
Yeah, they
bunch of
were really
fornicators if
crazy.
I've ever seen them. I mean, what,
They
Uh,
just said, screw it, we'll just wear sheets. Who needs clothes?
wow. This is really interesting because if this is a trait of our species,
Yes, it is. It's the animal
wow.
part of us. It's the beast part of us that knows it needs to procreate to survive, which is part of the ego construct, which is built into the soul to carry you through this reality. Your soul can take on any kind of suit it needs to, from what I understand.
The more I travel in this realm, the more in awe I become, because this is something that, you know, the veils are being stripped. I'm writing and I write all the time,
Me too.
but this shifting, it's like each time that there is a shift, there seems to be another cover that's pulled away, and there's another fractal of the truth, another construct to interject,
Yes.
and to think now that the feminine part of our species,
Mhm.
it's amazing, Trina, what the marvels of womanhood actually entails. It seriously, when I pass on the other side, if they ask me what is the thing that you most were in awe of, I'm going to have to say the female form.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's amazing. I see the same thing in the masculine form too, though. But yeah, the female is the stargate. She's the portal.
you are the Stargate.
Yeah, but
It's
you
so
guys
true.
deliver the spark to open that stargate up, and you inspire the womb to create. So it's like I said, one does not work without the
So I
other.
see each time you take the DNA, it's like a chevron that you put
It's
in
creating
the
a
symbol.
universe, Wayne. A whole new universe is what I see, because it's a
Yeah.
new combinations of codes, which produces something different. So it's new. That's
Have
it's
you ever
so
seen Stargate SG1?
no, I've seen little snippets
You
of
should
it, but
watch
no.
it sometime. I have it all on DVD. The point that I'm getting at,
Mm,
so as I have taught here, and I think you and I have broached on it, and we've talked about it as well. If you look at the female form, you are the temple,
mhm,
literally.
mm,
And the male could only be invited into the temple as a guest.
mm.
But what the male brings when entering the temple is a part of that genetic code
Yeah.
that is about to be, wow, you think about this.
Put into the matrix.
Wow, yeah, it's going to be taken from the male and really transferred over into this much more complicated system that we don't even have any
That's the
idea.
thing too, Wayne. You guys don't understand. Your semen is life force energy.
Yes, and that
So
is where the
yes,
sex
it
magic
is.
comes in. I
You
mean,
got it. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Every time
yeah.
you guys lose your semen, you lose a part of your life force energy. That's why they talk about, moderation and
Well,
retention.
if the
Yeah.
act of
But you have to have healthy,
self-stimulation, what the
yeah, it's
heck
got to have
happened?
healthy release, or it's not good for your physical body either. So balance,
Mm-hmm.
about balance.
Give me 1 second here. As he
Yeah,
gets,
I
there we
saw
are.
that camera went cuckoo.
Boo. But yeah, I mean, and it's interesting because in certain esoteric studies that um, this is what Lilith basically uses as part of that life, that spark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Hey, Heidi, how you doing, dear? Much
As you
love to
mean,
you.
if it's not being used to create a child, it get utilized one
And
way or the
I'll just
other.
lay this out, you know, and there's nothing wrong at all with the act of masturbation, but if
No.
you indulge in that, and it's powerful, if you
Yes.
use it in an area of sex magic. So dudes, what I'm trying to tell you is, when that moment of orgasm, the ejaculation takes place, if you're not imprinting that essence of yourself, you're basically leaving it open to whatever force or entity that's going to hijack it, so to
Yes.
speak.
Yes.
Now, this is really deep stuff. It's mature audience if you have to. I think it's just, you know, common sense. But guys and gals, if you have a partner and you involved in that type of magic, there is a powerful, when the two come together, and
Two or more come together. It's
exactly, and you
different.
imprint
Yeah. Different.
on that, those little tiny sparks, it's amazing.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
Because they
Creating out
are
of love.
alive. Hear me on this, folks. They're alive.
Yes.
Now, understand their life is but for a very brief moment. But if you've imparted in them the thought,
Yes.
the imagery,
Mhm.
two, where they become one in that aspect, as that transformation from life to death is taking place, they're carrying that into the ethereal.
Yes. Because all life revolves on intercourse. Think about it, a man and a woman's body parts. The man literally plugs into the female. They
It's
perfectly fit, and it's because you have to plug in to one another to actually get that energy exchange.
and what people don't realize is that there is a actual living energy that is being created as two forces
Orgasm.
come together.
Yes.
And that is what leads to the orgasm. That's why orgasms overtake the mind, the soul, and the body at the time. Now, if you can discipline the mind at that point, that's where the true magic comes into this thing.
Yeah, because that orgone, instead of going out of the body, it literally, the orgone travels up the spine and it bathes the pineal gland through a vibration of ecstasy and joy because it doesn't get to release out of the body. So it literally feeds your autonomic nervous system, your cerebral spinal fluid, awakens the pineal gland, and expands the third eye. You can have a whole laundry list Kundalini experience because that chi is not leaving the body. You're actually bringing that force that you built within you, and before you expel it, you draw it back into your own being, and it gives you extreme power. So this is a very powerful tool.
Literally. But literally, but it's true. And I mean, we don't talk about this enough. I mean, folks,
They don't want people to know this power. This is real, very
it's
strong, real.
very
And
real.
orgone is the most powerful creative energy. That's why it brings life into this world. Orgasm and orgone come from the same Latin root words. It's the same energy. It's our
Organ.
Torah. It's our
Yeah.
Torah field.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
I
the
mean,
bull,
today's
baby.
graphic
And
is exactly, wow.
yeah, and it's the bull. And look at, what does the female reproductive system look like? A
A
bull.
bull. Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
right
The
there.
fallopian tubes, the whole bit. I mean, you know,
This is your Torah, baby. That's it. We're getting that energy, exchanging energy, and creating new energy from those interactions of energy exchange.
if more humans would understand in the act of coitus, if they could just figure out what's really going on and channel that, and this is kind of the vampire series, because we have a species of beings that feed off of that.
Absolutely. That's why I'm not interested in lust. I'm only interested in love. And if you want to feed on me, good luck with that. I know the difference.
You know, it's like, ain't happening, but
Not it, nuh-uh.
so what's on the menu tonight? Well, let's have a
Not
little bit of
me.
Trina. So like, what?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh,
They're
holy
like, yeah.
crap. We're here. The spirits are agreeing with this. I mean, it's
Oh,
quite
thank you.
interesting.
Thank
Um,
you.
but and I'm going to be really curious to listen to the EVP that we're doing.
I know, right?
Because this is deep knowledge, folks. I
It's
mean,
sacred truths that
it
we have
is.
been not
Mhm.
allowed to understand or know. You know, if we grew up with these knowings of how this is super serious business and that it really changes your body when you plug in with another person, it changes you.
And that's
So
why,
it's
you should have a discussion. I mean, Lynn and I talk about it. When I first began
yes,
to incorporate this in our relationship, it was pretty foreign. It's like,
yes,
and
yes,
she said, she said, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. And I got it.
yeah,
Because, if every time you engage in the exchange of that
yeah,
energy,
yeah,
um, yeah, and she, as she thought about it, and it
yeah.
took her a while, but she finally said, makes sense.
Now I get it because she could start to feel the difference in her
Hmm.
own being and body, but you don't understand it until you actually practice it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've gone through bouts of celibacy for years. I've practiced with a lot of this stuff because I've always had an ancient memory of being a priestess in Atlantis. And again, I think in Egypt. So either
Hmm.
that or I went to Egypt during Atlantis and there was a place similar to it. It might not have been Egypt, but it looked like it had pyramids and stuff. So I don't know, but I've always had memories of this, and I never asked for them, and it was very powerful too, Wayne, because a lot of people too. There was one part of this that I don't see many people integrating. There was sounding happening, massive sounding. You know, oh, with those big horns, and there was vibration and stuff happening, and so it was
Can I
very
share something with you?
powerful. Yeah.
So back in the 80s, a client of mine was Masters and Johnson's. They wrote many of the sex literature that is even used today. So in one of their experiments, they put up a microphone in the act of two people in
Yeah.
lovemaking.
Yeah.
And what was really interesting is there is a sound.
I knew it.
Um, is as the act of copulation takes place,
That
there,
opens the portal, Wayne.
it's
It's a
interesting. There
sound
is
that
a
opens the
sound.
portal. I'm telling you, it's a sound. Yep.
And then it was real interesting because in the book of Solomon, I believe, it states the same thing, that
Wow,
within the
really?
woman, the womb is the chamber. And as the phallus is protruded through, and as the two membranes begin to vibrate, that produces the sound within.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Bingo.
this is just
Bingo.
my thought, but much of the time when I see many women in the moment of that ecstasy, they start screaming out, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
And there is a reason for that.
Yes, there
Uh,
is.
it's not talking about that God, not talking about a male God. It's talking about their God.
Yeah, it's their Torah field. It just
Yeah. Yeah.
bursted open like a star. Yeah,
People
it's
are like,
crazy.
holy crap, y'all are really talking about, yeah, yeah, this is what
Yeah.
adults do,
Yep.
this
And
is,
plus, too, it's really good to understand creation because you guys are creating by default anyways. So you might as
exactly.
well understand what you're doing when you're doing it because you're doing it anyways.
Well, if
So,
they could just see into the other spectral realm, folks,
yeah,
it's like the feeding trough. You don't
yeah.
understand. They actually fight to get
Oh, you
into
bet.
that immediate space.
They do.
They do.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wayne, you're so right. You're so right. Once I understood this, I could see that and feel it and sense it. And wow, it was creepy. So now I always shield up before I know I'm going to have any intimate relations. And I clear my room and clear my space. And I tell nobody that they're permitted to feed off what I'm creating. I'm giving it to what I choose and it's going where I
Bingo.
send it.
That's
Yeah.
why you feel so drained. It's not just the physical
Yes.
aspect. There
Boy,
is
you
a
forget too.
spiritual essence, man.
Yep. 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 Yep.
I mean, I get this idea, is that the hogs at the feeding trough, and there's this mad rush,
Mhm.
um, and this is one of the things about our species is that if we could only learn and teach this, that if we could incorporate that energy collectively, wow. I mean, yeah,
You
it's,
can do it. You can do it a million different ways. Coitus
I
is
have
one
no
of them,
doubt.
but you can do it a million different
You
ways.
can.
Really, I mean,
Um,
yeah, it's basically an energy of love. There's different layers and levels
oh
and
yeah, yeah.
identify, but it's just love. So yeah, you can do it a lot of different ways. But the thing is that this is the thing that people are not getting. It's like the energy exchanges between us is what literally what creates this world and produces the Torah fields of the earth, which is a reflection of what we're vibrating as cells of that earth.
And
So
I don't know what it is on other planets, but Trina, I got a suspicion that maybe this planet is unique because there is so much of this ethereal energy that is the direct result of two light beings, two energy beings coming together. Yeah, I mean,
it's
wow. If
powerful. This is something very unique. I do know that you're right with that.
it's like I can you get I get glimpses at times, and they're just like little vignettes, but this is what I think is really going on in this realm.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing manifest in the world today is because we have beings that have been able to harvest this energy in such a manner that, unbeknownst to us, they're using the very energy that we create against us.
Yes. Because we don't know how to use it, so they use it for us. They
Well,
tell
I
us
think they
the
use it for
vision.
their own purpose.
That's what I mean. They tell
Yeah.
us the vision, and then they utilize our power of creators to
Yeah.
create their vision because we don't understand that we create through what we see. It's profound. Science right now is running this around and they're freaking out right now because they're looking at our existence with the math and the new simulations and the new singularity and all this new science they're figuring out with the quantum field. They're pretty much dumbfounded because it is pointing to the absolute undeniable fact, any way they run it, any way they look at it, that Earth is the center of the universe again. It's going back to that, Wayne. And that might,
I don't really have a problem with that if you
I
think
kind
about
of
we're
don't
point
either, but
zero
I'm like,
zero zero.
yeah, it's very
You know,
interesting because the ancients, they used to believe that everything revolved around the earth. And now, man, that could be found, but it might be
and
right.
as you were talking, so I got this thing going in my head, so I can see Star Wars and Star Trek and all the modern day nomenclature, and I'm going. So are they like having orgies in space? I mean, are they so advanced that because in one aspect you look at ETs, apparently they don't copulate, and so
And yeah, and apparently they used to be humans.
that's what I'm getting at. And so
Yeah,
is this something that is so unique
I think
what
it
we
is.
do?
I think it is because we carry the image of like whatever they would say man would be. I think that this form is a very unique form, but this form is not the original not the original man form. This is mixed with animals. So this one's
Yeah.
different. But I think that might be part of how come it's so cute too, because it's got hair and it's got different stuff from the animal kingdom.
I, you know, yeah. I mean, like I said, whoever designed it, whoever the engineering team, job
Right.
well done. I
I
mean,
know, right?
I mean, as a and the spirits agree. I mean, you know, I
Yeah.
I used to take architectural drawing in school, and I loved in when I was in art because the human form. I mean,
Yeah,
if Da Vinci made most of his inventions because of the human form, I mean,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's
it's.
a masterpiece.
I mean,
It really is.
well done.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think it's taken um, you know, a long time to get kind of where we're at, but I think the original ones were actually superior to the ones that we hold now. So,
And I have to say there was intelligent design. I mean, you
yeah,
know, as I've said all along, you know why men don't have breast?
right.
Because
Because you
we
would
stay
stop
at
playing
home
with
all
them.
day and play with them. I mean,
Absolutely.
exactly. I mean, and that's what
Yes.
my wife says. She says, I'll never get it what the fascination is. And I said,
I think it's part of your soul
I said,
construct.
honey, it comes from in here, man. What can
It
I
does,
say?
the soul. It's
It
part of
is. It
your,
does. It's
yes, it's part of your program to reproduce. It's part of
yeah.
what
I think from
men
a
are.
male perspective, it also draws us back into the comfort of the womb.
That's what I mean, the loving part of you. It's
Yes. Yeah,
easy
it
to
is.
tap into love when
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
about being nurtured and being loved. So
Yeah.
that's the easy way. And you guys are visually stimulated, and that was done on purpose with your makeup. And we are more sensory, and that was done on purpose because, see, you need to activate the image, but we need to activate the emotion. So
I
it's
have to say
perfect.
thank you, Karen Edmonds, from many, many years ago. She cared enough about me that she taught me. In fact, we went out to a bar and she says, all right, I'm going to tell you something that you'll always be able to get laid. But she said, if you learn this, you'll also have a person who really admires you. And she said, the physicality, she says, you'll never get it. She says, but if you can touch me in here,
Right.
she says,
Then you got me.
that's exactly what she said. And she
Right.
said
Then
it's
you
the
got
same
me.
for every woman. But the
And
reason
then,
why most men at the younger age won't do that, because it requires you to slow down.
yes, and they're too excited and they're
Yeah,
overstimulated by what
exactly.
they're seeing
Yeah,
visually,
yeah.
and they can't control the desired touch, and then that creates other responses in the body.
There
Yeah,
we
it's
go.
hard. Absolutely.
Trina,
Uh-huh.
this has been an absolutely freaking fabulous show. I
Yes.
mean,
It's just
this is
amazing
why
that
we
down the rabbit holes we go,
oh
right?
it's I mean, and you know, this is something you don't hear out there a lot.
No. And it's like, seriously, guys, this is one of the most sacred things that you do on this planet is
It
when
is
you connect your energy to another body, when you literally plug into one another. So it's a sacred
literally.
thing. Yeah, it literally is. And it's very sacred, and it obviously causes permanent changes within your body and your being. So be very careful what you
You know, Trina,
entertain, allow into your body.
you just boom, the epiphany hit. Folks, if you haven't done that type of sexual cleaning
Yeah.
spiritually with your body,
Yes.
you might find out you have a lot of hitchhikers that need to go. And
Absolutely.
many of them are from your youth.
Yes.
Think about this.
Yes.
You know, that gal that you had that one night stand and then she started cussing your name when she
Oh
ever
God.
thought of you? Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah, those can be the ones that put the bad thoughts into your head.
Woo, you know?
You got a pissed
Mm-hmm.
off ex-girlfriend. Yeah, this
Mm-hmm.
is real, and these connections are real. And do you cut your cords and forgive everything? Because forgiveness can cut cords on its own. So but work on, yeah, you get this. This is what they call keeping the temple clean. This is what the meaning really is. It's about how many people have you let enter into your house? Were they unclean? Were they
Off the hook
demonic?
says, well, how do you get rid of these? It's not that difficult.
No, spiritual cleansing.
Yeah, it is. And in
Yeah.
fact, if you have any ritual, any type, I have the favor cleansing ritual. That's one that will
I
rid
love
you
that
of,
one.
oh,
It's powerful.
I've
But it can
had,
be as simple as getting in the shower and using the water to cleanse your aura and cleanse your spirit and cleanse your soul and cleanse your physical body, cleanse all the layers of you. Go, just do whatever works for you in your consciousness, because nobody knows better how to heal you than you.
and by the
Trust
way, how you can
that.
get that is anytime it's like you're living in a house, but you've never
Mhm.
opened the door because you're not sure if the door is a closet or a room. It never
Right.
occurred to you. And you open the door and you go, who the
Ta-da!
what? Yeah. What?
He was there all the time. I
Surprise!
just
And now the green light's coming. That's temperature. Wow.
yeah, they like
Yeah,
that.
they like that.
Yeah,
All right, folks. Well, this has been a lively show, Miss Trina. Much love
absolutely.
to you, dear.
Much love to you.
Wowza. Okay. All right, Kaz, much love to you, darling, and all the rest, Jules, Scotty Boy,
Much
Chris,
love.
all of you. We thank
Love
you.
all of you.
And we'll see you next Tuesday on a second look. And whew, it's warm in here, Trina. That's all I got
I
to
know,
say.
right?
All right, everyone. Much
Fine.
love to you. All right.